I remember finishing a painting I was really proud of, only to be frustrated by the wavy barcode paper. It ruined the look. And honestly, sometimes it made the painting process hard too. If you've been there, you're not alone. Today, I'm sharing what I've learned about stretching watercolor paper. I'll show you how to properly stretch watercolor paper, and not just one way. Comparing a few different methods with tools to see which one works best, which are easiest, and what to watch out for. Hopefully, this saves you some time and some paper. There are 3 common tools for stretching and take down watercolor paper: masking tape, water-activated tape, also called gummed tape, staples, usually with a wooden or glitter board. Let's take a look at how each one works and go over their pros and cons. Masking tape is a quick and easy way to hold your paper down on a board, but it usually works best with dry paper. That's because once the tape gets wet, the adhesive starts to lose its grip. Even if you only wet the back of your paper, moisture can still seep out to the edge and stop the tape from sticking properly. It might still lifting or peeling while you paint, which can be annoying. But if you are working on a small piece and using thin paper, like a 140 IB or more, and you are not using a ton of water, masking tape can still be a convenient option. For quick study or practices where perfect flatness isn't essential, this method actually works pretty well and saves time. But if you are looking for more reliable hold, especially use not of wet-on-wet technique or large pieces, let's move on to the next method: water-activated tape. Before using water-activated tape, you'll need to soak your watercolor paper first. If you have a large container, you can submerge the whole sheet for about 5 minutes so the water fully penetrates the paper. But if that's not possible, you can just use a big flat brush to wet the paper thoroughly. I usually wet just the back of the paper, brushing it twice with about 30 seconds in between. Just don't overdo it. Soaking for too long can wash out the sizing and affect how the paint behaves later. Once the paper damp and rest for a few minutes, lay it flat on your board. Next, take the water-activated tape and wet the glue side. It'll start to curl. That's normal. Just wait 2 minutes to let the adhesive fully active. If you still done too soon, it may not hold properly and could peel off as it dries. Now go ahead and tap down the edges of your paper. Let everything dry completely before you start painting, and you'll have a nice flat surface to work on. But here is the thing: water-activated tape only works well if you are using the right kind of board. It really needs a clean, absorbent wooden surface. If you use something non-absorbent, like my smooth PVC board, the tape won't stay at all. It actually just falls off once it's dry. On a proper wooden board roll, it holds super firmly. Just be careful when removing the tape, since it can tear the paper if you are not gentle. Also, your paper needs to be soaked enough, and the border needs to have full contact with the paper. No gaps or air bubbles underneath. If any air sneaks in, you might still get bubbles after it dries. So overall, water-activated tape can just give you great results, but it takes a bit of trials and error to get it just right. Finally, Let's talk about using staples, which in my opinion is the most effective way to stretch watercolor paper, especially for medium to large paintings. It also makes framing easier later on, since the paper stays nice and flat. For this method, I recommend using glitter board or water skin board. These materials are waterproof, easier to staple into than wood, and removing the staple afterward is much simpler. Start by wetting your watercolor paper, just like before. I use a large brush to wet the back of the paper twice. Let it set to 3 to 5 minutes. Then gently lift the paper and bend it a bit. If it folds over itself and holds the shape without flattening back, it's ready. Now flip the paper over and place it on your glitter board. Hold it in a U shape and carefully set it where you want. Then use a clear, soft tissue, gently press out any air underneath. Staple along the edges of the paper. I usually place the table just outside the painting area. Once set done, let it dry completely. As the paper dries, it shrinks and naturally stretches tight against the board. This method rarely causes bubbles because any trapped air can escape through the small gap between the staples. If you want a clean, smooth edge around your painting, here's a little trick. After the paper is dry and stapled, you can place masking tape around the edges. When the painting is finished, just peel off the tape, and you have a nice clean border. Honestly, this is my favorite method. It gives the best results for plate paper. You might still see a tiny bit of bubbling while painting, but it's minimal and usually doesn't affect the process. The only downside is that it takes more time. You want to stretch the paper at least hours before you start painting, so plan ahead. And that wraps up today's video on stretching watercolor paper. You can pick the method that best fits your style, project size, and how much time you want to spend. Hope this helps make your next painting a smoother experience. Thank you for watching, and if you like my video, please leave me a like and subscribe my channel. Your support is bringing you new and free watercolor tutorial like this.